So YouTube family, meet the Mayo man right here, Brian Daboll, Daboll, the most overrated coach that you'll ever see in the NFL. The guy who was hired by the Giants, who was supposedly told us that it was the greatest offensive coordinator to come in the NFL. You know, the guy who left a beautiful established Buffalo Bills, who went to the Giants and immediately failed, while the Buffalo Bills still did great in the playoff compared to what he did, but he couldn't fix the Giants. But we're going to get into all that, and we're going to look at who this scrub coach is, and it's going to make sense. But smash the like button, hit the notification bell. We will be using video proof receipts. Yes, video receipts on this one. Get your popcorns ready. DJ Bless One, the best one, is in town, guys. So I had to wear my shades for this one because there's a lot of haters from that said so community. But what I've noticed is the lies. They're now claiming that Shedeur had a terrible meeting with the Giants to the point where Deion Sanders even had to say something to all these haters of who we are. This is Deion Sanders' respond to the Mayo community, such as Brian Daboll in the Giants organization. He said, "Never happened, my brother. It never happened as far as this false fallacies going on with the Mayo community, spreading these false lies that Shedeur had this terrible meeting with the Giants. They had to call him out. He was underprepared for the meeting as well. Yet nobody in the Giants organizations even stood on that. You would think at least one source would come from the Giants to say this, but yet they hid their hands and told other reporters this while pretending they're cool with Shedeur. So let me give you guys a brief up on who this clown is, Brian Daboll. He was a defensive guy. That's how much privilege Mayo coaches have. This guy was a defensive assistant because when you're Mayo, you have all sorts of opportunity at the high school level, the college level, including the NFL itself. Because how does a guy go from a defensive assistant to this so-called offensive mind? No, in other words, it was all Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and that incredible line that the Buffalo Bills got. But once we know how the media moves, they always give credits to these type of Mayo guys. So this is the scrub quarterback in question who got drafted like the 25th pick in the first round. Jackson Dart, who's only 6'2", but they act like he was 6'6", but they talk about the stature of Shedeur as if he isn't almost the goddamn same height and body size, because Shedeur is like 210 pounds, guys. But for some reason, now it's a problem with weight with Shedeur. But Brian Daboll is the one who, if Shedeur wasn't prepared during the meeting, he didn't understand the playbook, which is failing it and being journalism when you print this fake article up, because Brian Daboll is the same one who admitted that young quarterbacks have to go through a learning curve or whatnot. If you don't believe me, listen to the scrub Daboll.
Thank you. Yep.
So if there was a learning curve in a process that you go through with all young players, why denigrate Shedeur and pretend he's some idiot who can't comprehend a playbook when he's been over excelling through the playbook since his Pop Warner football days, since his high school days that we clearly seen get publicized on Overtime YouTube platform. We seen him in college with the worst offensive line a team could have, with below average, no offense to the Colorado players, but 3 stars and 2-star players. And he excelled at the quarterback position, but for some reason, he's not prepared. And you see the things they say about us, but yeah, Shedeur been predicted us how these guys are. And before I get to Shedeur, Brian Daboll, he's just a bitch, bro, because he's one of these people, if you put clothes on a snake, at the end of the day, it's still a snake, because this is him during the combine and Colorado's pro day. He kept pretending he was best friends with Shedeur. Look at it again. Boy, my mom and father always told me when it comes to that community, you got to be careful with these people, man. These people have did all type of atrocities. So these are the kids of grandkids, of great grandkids, of the ones who have always tarnished us, who's always hurt us. So why would they change if they never acknowledge what their forefathers did? But let's continue to go with it. So Shedeur Ben went off on a lot of these so-called fake executives and ownership teams, and he said what we all think of these failed plantation league owners.
Deion Sanders need. What do you tell them? What Deion Sanders need? What do you?
I mean, what more Shedeur needs to say? That spoke into existence what was gonna happen. Because when he said that, they already didn't want to draft Shedeur, but they act like what he said right there was the main reason why they didn't draft Shedeur. Could you believe it? A player that's dying to play, that's saying that a team would make a mistake if you passed up on him. Now all of a sudden it's a detriment to any organization because he said that. Now he's not humble. And I noticed they love calling us arrogant while these Mayo people are being arrogant towards us. But Brian Daboll, who was hired on this day to feed Daniel Jones and make him to a better quarterback, because what every Mayo people and Mayo pundit and Mayo scrub and trolling in the comment sections was telling us, Brian Daboll could save Daniel Jones. It's not Daniel Jones' fault. It's the offensive line. It's the Giants organization. Well, the Giants hired Brian Daboll to change Daniel Jones only for them to trade him during the season last year. But here goes bro, I keep receipts, bro. This is when they hired the clown overrated coach, Brian Daboll, who hasn't proven anything as a head coach yet.
Tell us about it.
The next head coach of the
I can't stand that Mayo clown, Ian Rappaport. I'm glad all the other agents and people been exposed him 5 years ago. Ian Rappaport don't know jack ish about football. He's a clown that get fed what his naysayer Mayo counterparts at ESPN tell him to say, or the NFL Network. First of all, Ian Rappaport said it would be a service to Daniel Jones and a disservice to Josh Allen. Let me show you how these clowns don't know jack ish about football. First of all, how was it a service for Daniel Jones to get Brian Daboll if he didn't improve with Daniel Jones? Daniel Jones was still a scrub who they traded. And how was it a disservice to remove Brian from Josh Allen if Josh Allen unexpectedly became the MVP, which we know was really for Lamar Jackson, because Josh Allen didn't measure up to Lamar Jackson, but nonetheless, so Josh Allen wins the MVP, but Ian Rappaport said it's a disservice to lose Brian Daboll. So in other words, this coach is a scrub coach. He was not the impact effort of Bills advancing to the playoff for multiple years. He's just a do boy. You know, like the Eric Bieniemy for the Kansas City Chiefs. How come Brian Daboll didn't go through the same scrutiny that the Kansas City Chiefs former coordinator, Eric Bieniemy went through? Because when you're Mayo, you go through a privilege, especially the people who don't like us. Speaking of privilege, listen to the weak excuse that when he spoke to Jackson about Jackson Dart, told me everything, because neither him or Joe Schuin knows anything about Jackson Dart. You don't believe me? Listen to these clowns.
I know.
I know.
These Mayo people are incredible. Look, if you're Mayo and you're not racist or hating us, then I'm not talking to you. I created the Mayo acronym for evil, wicked people who don't like us. If you don't fit that part, shut the fuck up. I'm not talking to you, bitch. But let's get back to Brian Daboll. So Jackson Dart is this high IQ Mayo quarterback. I've noticed they apply the high IQ smartness to Mayo quarterbacks, and they apply to don't have a high intelligence of high IQ to knee grumps quarterback. But that's just who these people are. Listen to Joe Shuam, who basically let us furthermore know he didn't do his homework on Jackson Dart, and it was just a urgent need to draft a quarterback who looked like their grandkids, who looked like John Mayer, the owner of the Giants, who looks like them.
Like, dude, you're in an all-star game. You'll enjoy visiting with him.
So if they love quarterbacks who run the ball and run through linebackers, then why didn't Giants bin draft a melanated brother at the quarterback position? You see how they move the goalposts? So Shedeur, they got to denigrate him for not being fast enough, for being a pocket awareness quarterback. But for all my life, I was told that's the quarterbacks they wanted. Bro, they just don't like y'all, bro. They'll get you at a wide receiver position, running back positions, or hell, we can't even say that because look how they mistreated Saquon Barkley. And ain't God good? That man got a Super Bowl championship. But nonetheless, Brian Daboll is a scrub coach. When you hear he's on teams like Alabama, do you really think it was him? Hell, even Lane Kiffin was an offensive coordinator for Alabama. When Brian Daboll or Daboll, whatever his name is, because it's not French, if it is French, when he left Alabama, did they suffer? Hell no. Nah. When he left the Bills, did they suffer? Hell no. Nah. This guy has no impact at all other than for his complexion. So now when I see these guys, they glaze each other. I love when Deion Sanders responded to, the Giants organization and Daboll. He said it never happened, my brother. It never goddamn happened where Shedeur was underprepared for a week meeting with them. And I love this beautiful female who's part of the NFL world. Our queen said all fabricated lies, aka lies. And I love one of the agents in the NFL from Atlanta. He said never happened button. A lot of people felt mad about this. Like, how are you media pundits are releasing these informations with no source? But once again, I'm Mayo and I say so. No credibility, no proper professionalism in your journalism because it doesn't exist with you people. You people spit out hate and try to throw it on me, DJ Bless. You're a race baiter. But this is the same idiot trolling black folks all day because you're obsessed with us. You're addicted to us. And all you do is wake up. You don't take care of your kids. You wipe your families out if you're mad, including the goldfishes. And then you pretend it's us the one bringing the race factor in it when we know you people wake up only thinking about the race factors only. Speaking of that, Aaron Rodgers, the failed quarterback, who's another overrated one, what has he done lately since that Super Bowl? He's been overrated with inflated stats over and over again. Meaningless football games where he puts up numbers that doesn't mean anything, but he's called one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. He's going to glaze Brian Daboll and say all this crap about he has a beautiful mind. Brian Daboll, he has the most beautiful, genuine mindset.
I'm not going to get into specifics about every team that I talked to, but it was a few teams. There were a lot of teams, as I mentioned, that I had no access. I think he's,
Shut up, dude. Just retire already. You're wasting teams' chances. You're not even durable. You've never been durable, but they always overhype you. Meanwhile, all these clown races, Lamar Jackson is injury prone, but then Joe Burrow, who's been injury prone since college, high school, and in the NFL, you guys said nothing about his contract extensions, but I'm supposed to believe all you guys are by far way better than us. But here's another thing that make you people evil. For these journalists to print out these reports with nothing to substantiate it, talking about Shedeur shockingly fell because he was underprepared for the interview. But yeah, all these Mayo pundits, not the pundits, but the owners and staff members of these plantation teams all said he was a great dude who interviewed very well. So what is it? Did he do bad or was it a lie? So that's the thing, bro. I'm here to push back against the fallacies and what they say about us, bro. Then we're hearing Brian Daboll talking about they always wanted Jackson Dart or that other non-quarterback. But in reports from the same pundits who are spreading these false rumors on Shedeur, they claim that the Giants did want Shedeur and Jackson Dart. So which is it? Look, my people, man, don't fall for the tactics they use against us. These people, there's no honorable truth in them. Look at through their history. They lie about who they are every day. And these are the people you believe in. Now, there are great Mayo people out there, but unfortunately, the great ones choose to be quiet and support the evil ones. Therefore, I'm going to go ham on everybody. It is what it is. Shout out to the beautiful Mayo people who do support me, who send me beautiful letters every day. Like one of the females who was the alleged victims of Deuce, who was headed towards Colorado. I've been speaking to her. Her beautiful name is Jenna, and we made amends. I'm not going to get into that until she feels ready to, you know, speak to you guys, and I think she will. And I gave her my word. These people don't know who we are because we're great people. At the end of the day, I also expose these people. And that's what I'm talking. You be thinking it's the Mayos who come at me. It be you knee grumps, bruh, who just be stepping fetchings for no reason. Bless one, you's gonna get us in trouble. In troubles. Y'all sees monster goes down the ways. You's better be quiet. Hell nah, nigga. I'm anointed by the Most High. What you mean, cuz? Never that, bruh. You see, when I take the shades off, it's the same knee grumps. You feel me? Miss me with all the semantics y'all play for these Mayo people, bruh. At the end of the day, I'm DJ Bless One, the best one. I'm always tell you to love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed. You feel me? I will always remind you this is bigger than football. It's deeper than football. I'm DJ Bless One, the best one, man. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed.